There are a lot of young men and women who aspire to do all manner of things, and there's a fear inside them. And what I'm hearing from you is saying, take the fear and use it as a catalyst to drive you.
Absolutely.
Not to make you shrink.
Yes.
And you can do just about anything.
Oh, yeah.
Just about anything. You've got to have some skill, and you mastered that. The other thing is that we've been talking, listening to you chat about a number of different things. There's a cyclist in you who's seriously competitive. There's a musician in you that's seriously competitive. There's an engineer, sound engineer that's seriously competitive. And there's a business brain in you that will not let go. So is there anything you're not competitive at? What about driving your car? Are you seriously competitive?
No, absolutely not. And I get my wife to drive me most of the time these days. And I'm that classic kind of really annoying person that sits in the car and goes, can you just look at, can you just slow.
So you're the ultimate backseat driver in the front seat.
Yeah, I am, and I'm terrible for that. I'm also no good at ball games. If you throw a ball at me now, I'd kind of go like this.
Please don't.
And what I have learned to do is to avoid the things I'm not really good at, and just avoid them like the plague, and don't get involved.
So your middle name should be the polisher.
Yeah.
The things you're good at, you can really polish them and make them sparkle.
Yeah.
What's wrong? Let's come back to Australia.
Okay.
You've arrived down under. You have a new wife in tow, and you're looking to do all manner of different things. What do you make of the Australian music scene down under? I mean, the business has changed tremendously since you first started.
Absolutely.
Technology has changed.
Absolutely, yeah.
Other things as well.
It's a very disruptive environment.
33s no longer exist, or they do only in the aficionados' hands.
Yeah.
The 45s are gone.
Yeah.
There's so much new tech, but the turntable is coming back.
Oh, yeah.
So what are we doing right? What are we doing wrong?
I arrived here and I was quite conceited because I thought with the CV and palmarès that I've got, I would walk into the Melbourne music scene, announce myself, and people would immediately flock towards me and ask my advice and ask me to get involved. And the absolute opposite happened. I arrived here and every door was shut in my face, and I kept telling people what I'd done, and people would go, yeah, big deal, and turn their back and walk away. And then that's when someone told me about the tall poppy syndrome, which I didn't know existed. And everyone kept talking about bands that I'd never heard of, they'd not sold any records, that the music industry here seemed very small, it was very colloquial, it was not about international sales. I'd come from the music business. I've not come from the music...
The
international music business, where the business bit was important, selling records, making money, doing the job of running business. And when I got here, I realised that the music business wasn't about music business, it was music community.
Wow.
People making music, having fun, maybe selling a few CDs at the back of the room, and that type of thing.
Keeping it in the family.
Yeah, and it was very small, very colloquial, and there wasn't a lot of people that had that driver stuff. And I met a lot of people that said, "Oh, it's good to meet you. I work in the music industry." And I'd say, "What do you do?" And in actual fact, the music industry was a kind of passion project or a hobby, and what they actually did was work in a cafe or drive a bus. Yeah. And it's like that's not working in the music industry. That's being a bus driver, which you should be proud of if you're a good bus driver or a barista. But music's your hobby. So I think one of the problems here, it's always been quite a small industry, and the business side of it. It always felt here, and I'm going to be very rude, that we're 25 years behind the times here as well. I would go to...
Do we suffer from a cultural cringe?
We do, yeah, we do. And also people tend to look at that, okay, here we go again, the smoke and mirrors media portrayal of what we think the music industry is. Mm-hmm. And then people here dress up and try and act like as if they've seen it in a film. Now, when you're in Los Angeles or Nashville or London or Liverpool, people don't. We kind of quite conservatively dressed, and we get on and do the business. And there just seemed it seems the strangest thing to say, a fear of success here. That people were quite happy going, we played to 200 people at the Tote. Fantastic, played to 200 people at the Tote. Where do you go next? What are you going to do next?
Well,
in 6 months' time, we'll come back and do it again. Yeah.
Currently, they can't do anything with these lockdowns.
Yeah.
But how do we go forward? How do we break down some of those old established practices and that mindset and move the industry back forward? And not only 25 years back, but a few years forward.
Yeah, well, One of the big problems here, and it's a very, very contentious thing, and probably one of the reasons I'm a bit of a pariah, I just don't think the quality of what we're making here is good enough. Uh-huh. Now, I love wine. I have a fantastic wine cellar. 50 years ago, who would have bought a bottle of Australian wine? Nobody in the right mind. There was Kangarooge, and that was about it. What did the people do in the wine industry with Kangarooge? They went to every international event there was going, displayed the wine, got it tasted, everyone spat it out and said it was revolting. They went away, took that criticism, got it better and better and better. Where's the number one winemaking area in the world now? Right here. It's a few miles up the road, Yarra Valley Peninsula, Adelaide Hills. People come from all over the world. To me, that's what the music industry needs to do at the moment. And there are quite a few initiatives of can we get the product out there. I personally believe, and a lot of people will disagree, that the quality of the product isn't good enough for export yet. It's great for getting a few people in a pub, but it's not going to fill 30,000 seat arenas in America yet.
Is it exciting enough? We've had some international acts that, like In Excess, like the Seekers, when they were challenging everyone in the world. So we have had talent.
Yes.
So where has it gone, and why is it suddenly evaporated?
I'm a big believer in Malcolm Gladwell's 10,000 hour rule, and Malcolm Gladwell says to be good at anything you need to put 10,000 hours in. Interesting fact, if you look at when the Beatles went to Hamburg, they were a really mediocre cover band. If you add up the number of gigs that they did in the Kaiserkeller for 16 hours a day
before they went to America,
and add it up, do you know what it comes to? 10,000 hours. Wow. Almost exactly.
So they almost became a band in that stint that they did in Hanover.
Now, George, the problem isn't just with Melbourne bands or Australian bands, it's nearly all bands. They went from doing the 10,000 hour rule of learning guitar, drums, bass, songwriting, the mechanics of what you're doing. And if you were to imagine a pie chart, the actual bit of doing the music bit that they're doing is now minuscule. And the amount of time they're spending doing TikTok, Facebook, social media, making videos, marketing, and working a job because they're not earning any money. It's like, are you really a musician anymore? We need some management, we need some leadership, really kind of good aggressive leadership, but in a nice way that is prepared to put artists in a bubble so they can do their art and make their art. And the people like us, the creative managers, can take care of that creative sales, marketing, and so on. It's a process rather than a single thing, a single golden bullet that can set this right.
We're talking to Tim Dalton, and we're talking music, we're talking all manner of different things. But I want to ask you, one of the great challenges to do those 10,000 hours is to find venues that will allow or will offer young bands and soloists the opportunity to perform. They can't possibly perform in a studio or in the shadows. What challenges you is putting you out on the stage. There aren't enough venues in Australia that reliably see. What they're doing is they're saying they want to sell a few more beers, they want to sell a few more spirits. So we'll put a band in, not too much noise or whatever, and we'll sell what we need to sell. They're not thinking, if we create a great sound here, people will flock, fill the place up, and we'll make a name for ourselves.